Sometimes when there's election and stuff, they post the results like this. 42% voted for candidate A and 39% voted for candidate B. That's not actual though, right? Do we know that that's not an actual legitimate percentage? Because so many people, all right, it's hard to get, when the population is huge, it's hard to get around to everyone. So I don't know if you've ever noticed this part, and this is the part we're going to talk about today. This part that they have here, plus or minus. What they're saying is, all right, we're guessing about 42% voted for candidate A, but you know what? It could be 2.4% above that or 2.4% below that. All right. So if you guys right now, or if you can do it in your head, 42 plus 2.4, what's that? 44.4. And when you subtract it, what's that going to be? 39.6. What they're saying is, hey, we're a lot more confident that between 39.6% and 44.4 actually voted for candidate A. Okay, that's what that margin of error is. All right, this is probably not the actual amount because the population's too big to get an actual average. So we put what's called margin of error, and that's what we're talking about today. All right, the actual people who voted for these guys are actually plus or minus 2.4 in either direction. And the same thing here with my job performance. You can't really see it too much, but down below it's plus or minus 3% here. That's not the actual percent. It's probably 3 above to 3 below, somewhere in that range. Okay, so that's what margin of error is, and that's how we're going to find it today. All right, so go to your notes. Like I said, should be a quick day, but I want you to understand what we're finding then. I want you to understand. So this margin of error, how much the actual mean is off by. That's what I'm going to show you how to find right now. How much the actual mean is off by. It's a formula I need you to remember. It's not that big of a deal, but plus or minus 2 times whatever the standard deviation is. That's how I find the margin of error. And a little note I'd like you to make right next to it somewhere. The bigger the population, the smaller the margin of error. I'll start abbreviating it MOE. Okay? The bigger the population, the smaller the margin of error. If I go back to my sleeping example and I just say, all right, kids in Bethlehem High School, on average, how many hours of sleep do they get? And I just test you guys. I get an average, right? Let's say I throw in Mrs. Lynch's class. Guess what? I'm going to get closer and closer and closer to that actual average, right? The more people I bring in, so that's why that margin of error is going to get smaller. So read through the first one here. There's a lot I've thrown at you, but I only need a couple pieces. Yep. Studied 86 residents, a mean weight to be 168 pounds, standard deviation of 25. I'll talk about this 95% confidence level after we're done with the margin of error, but find it round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So margin of error, plus or minus 2 times the standard deviation. That's all I need. Plus or minus 2 times, what's the standard deviation up here? 25. So plus or minus 2 times 25, my margin of error is going to be plus or minus 50. Okay, plus or minus 50. Again, what's that mean? Remember the mean weight was 168? Not really that great of a study, right? Because we're saying it could be 168, but it also could be 50 pounds below or 50 pounds above. All right, but I'm telling you, the more people we bring in, the smaller that's going to get. All right, so that's what that plus or minus 50 means. All right, keep going. There's only a couple here I have for you. Next one's SAT scores. You guys can read through that. What's the margin of error here for the SAT scores? So plus or minus 2 times standard deviation. Where's that there? 92. So and I do need the plus or minus because it could go in both directions. So that's going to be what? 184. So you're telling me the average score is 463, but it actually could be anywhere 184 below or 184 above that. All right, so everyone good on what this margin of error is? It could calculate a range of means. All right, a range. All right, and then finally here, what do we got here? Text messages sent per day. There we go. 196 messages a day. High or low? Or right around? Low? Really? Wow. I send like 5. Maybe if that's a good day. I think I maybe sent like 4 today. That was about it. You guys are popular though, so probably that's why. So margin of error here. Is that legitimately low? No?
Like how many is low? Like we're asking the standard deviation.
No, I'm talking 196. It says a mean of 196 messages.
Honestly,
On average, 196 messages sent.
Like really
Well, now that you guys got lockdown during the day, I guess it's going to be low. But what about the other hours? It's not on lockdown.
Are we like we're counting like snaps?
Is it 196? 196 is a lot.
Yeah.
You saying it's nothing?
No, I say
I'm saying that's high,
I'm
but
saying that's way high.
I don't know about
I do
high
like
school
one
seniors and
round
juniors.
replies and that's like pretty much it for the day.
Okay, all right. So here we do plus or minus 2 times 53. So my margin of error 100 and plus or minus 106. So it could be actually 196 minus that, 196 plus that. All right, we all good on margin of error before I actually get to how to find this interval now where the mean could be. All right, we're going to start referring to this as the confidence interval. All right, confidence interval. And it's always, you don't have to worry about another percentage. It's always going to be at a 95% confidence interval. I will go over that once we find our first one, what that means. All right, so now I actually want you to find the interval where the possible mean could be. All right, find me the interval. And the way we do it is we take our margin of error, and you guys already know how to find that, and take the mean, add it, and subtract it. Right? Add and subtract the mean to our margin of error. So now we're going to involve the mean to find what's called our confidence interval. Let's roll. This is the last one I'm going to do with you, and then I'm going to start calling on people. 66 students and found a mean savings of $3,500. Yep. Determine a 95% confidence interval. So the first thing I need to do before I find the confidence interval is find my margin of error that we just found. Plus or minus 2 times standard deviation is $500. So my margin of error is going to be plus or minus 1,000. Okay, everyone ready for the confidence interval now? How to find that? So your confidence interval, abbreviate CI, is going to be your mean, which was 3,500. I'm going to take the mean and add and subtract that margin of error you just found for me, 1,000. And make sure the low number goes first in your interval, right? So 3,500 minus 1,000. 2,500. 2, add it. 4,500. So here's what here we go. I'm not doing my job unless I tell you, other than just how to find it. What is it? We are 95% confident. That's where this number comes from. We are 95% confident that at this school, the average amount that a kid saved was somewhere between 2,500 and 4,500. Do I know the exact amount? Never going to find it. Too big of a population. Never going to find it. But I'm 95% confident it falls within this range. So that's what this interval is. All right? All right, I'm going to start calling on you guys here. Read through number 2. Mean weight of 168 with a standard deviation of 20. Determine a 95% confidence. And it's always going to be 95. You're not going to see anything different. All right, first thing I need from somebody, how you finding the margin of error? Because I need that first before I do the confidence interval. Margin of error, what two numbers are we multiplying here? There we go, Isabel, start us off right. Plus or minus? 20, the standard deviation. Good, what do you get there? Plus or minus? 40, good work. Excellent. All right, how about my confidence interval now? How's that going to, I don't want to know what it is, just how you calculating it. Okay, how are you going to calculate the confidence interval here? Boom, ones. Drew, how are we going to calculate it? What numbers are you taking?
40 and 168.
168, yep. Take the mean, add and subtract the margin of error. So in this school, we're 95% confident the mean weight of all the students will be between what? Emma, when you have it?
128 through 208.
Okay, there you go. All right, so we're 95% confident that the mean, the average weight of these students is somewhere between there. You guys good? All right, a couple more like this, and I'm going to change them up, see if you're on your toes or not here and understand this. So back to SAT scores. Determine a 95% confidence interval. All right, margin of error. What are you starting with here? What are you multiplying together here? Grant, hello.
Plus
Hello.
or minus 2 times 97.
Thanks. And what's that become, Grant? Plus or minus?
194.
All right. Let's go to the confidence interval with me. What are you adding and subtracting here to get to the confidence interval? There we go. Max, hello.
477
Yep.
plus or minus 194.
Good. Good work. So we are 95% confident that whoever took this SAT, the average of this SAT was what? 1, 2. Grant, back to you. Hello.
283 to 671.
What?
That's what I got.
That's about
Yeah.
283?
Yeah.
Use your big boy words, please.
283 to 671.
Thank you. 671. You're just listing off numbers like it was a combination. All good? Yeah, hey, by the way, there are 2 chains. Did you notice the dartboard over there now? You break one of them, you owe me another one. Got me? All right, so here we go. A little bit different now. Instead of me just coming out and saying, what's the confidence interval? So you guys read through it. Which one of the following is a reasonable value for the true mean? Right? Which one's a reason? Well, I don't know. I got to find the confidence interval, right? I'll be 95% confident I can tell you where it's between, but I need that interval first before I tell you what the true mean could actually be. All right, so that's what it's asking for. Hey, find the darn confidence interval and then see which one of these values falls in between. So what's going on? Margin of error. Help me find that one. Paige, hello.
Hi.
Oh, finally somebody. Thank you. Plus or minus 2. Good manners. Times what here?
Oh, wait, what? I thought I already.
Oh, we are. Never mind.
We already have it.
All right, relax. I was getting all fired up. We already have the margin of error. I know. Thank you. All right, so how about the confidence interval now?
503 plus or minus 22.
There you go. And what's my interval here? I'm just going to leave you here. Isabel, here we go.
Sorry.
It's all right. Take your time.
Between 480 and 520.
480, and I didn't hear your other one.
520.
523. Good. So we're pretty
26.
relaxed. 26. So we're pretty confident the mean could be 489.4. That's reasonable because that's 95% within there. All right, how about we go backwards now for these last two? I'll give you the confidence interval. Can you give me the margin of error that got me there? Not the mean. Remember, I'm not looking for the mean. I'm looking for what the margin of error was. So from mean to one end or mean back to the other end. Okay, so the confidence interval for this one was 56 to 62. What must have been my margin of error? Margin of error, not the mean. The mean will help you. All right, but what was my margin of error? So let's talk. What would have been the mean here? What is halfway in between here? And maybe you guys do it a different way, but this is how I'm going to teach it. What's halfway in between? 59, right? And I need to add the same to get to 62 as I subtract it to get to 56. All right, so my margin of error must have been 3. Yep. Or did anybody say, oh, they're 6 apart and cut that in half? That's fine too. Whatever floats your boat there, kids. And then number 6, now my confidence interval is 64 to 69, 64 and a half to 69 and a half. You can find what's in the middle and figure it out, or cut how far apart they are in half. Again, not looking for the mean here. I don't want a number in the 60s. Just looking for that margin of error. What am I off by? Oh, shoot. I did something wrong on number 5. Got to be plus or minus, right? Because it can go in either direction. Plus or minus. Yep. Or we could be plus or minus 3 in each direction. So margin of error over here, plus or minus. Finish on a good note going into the weekend. Stella. Well, don't even answer first. First, decent job on your quiz. Not a little refrigerator material there. You're lucky I didn't take points off. Find another pen. Okay, find another pen or a pencil. All right, got me? Drives me nuts with the red pen on there. What do you have now? 2.5. 2.5. Good job. Questions from you guys? Also, yeah, I forgot we have 2 more, huh? All right, I just want to introduce you to this because we'll be using these next week. This is called the dot plot. Okay, I don't know if you guys have ever seen them or maybe craft your own here. You know, if I hey Grant, on average, how many hours of sleep do you usually get?
7 to 8.
So
7.
Okay, thank you. Just 7. So if I was doing a dot plot with you guys here, I'd find where 7 is, put a dot there. Okay, Max, what about you?
5.
Okay, so I put a point there. So that's how a dot plot works. That's what this is showing. All right. Most importantly, I want you to find the confidence interval. You don't need to find all these dots and do the mean and the standard deviation. I put it up here for you. Okay, so I just want to introduce you to what a dot plot is because you're going to be seeing a ton of those next week. Can we still find the confidence interval? You're darn right. Margin of error. Most of the time, if not all the time, I will give you the mean and standard deviation. You do not have to calculate it on your own because that would be a lot of numbers plugging into that list in your calculator. So what are you going to do here to find the margin of error? 10 spot here. Hi, Kate. Margin of error. How do I calculate that here so I can get to the confidence interval? Plus or minus?
Plus or minus 2 times 0.046.
There you go. Yep. And what's that going to be, everyone? 2.092?
Yeah.
Okay, there's my margin of error. Now use it to find the confidence interval. What are you doing to find the confidence interval? Talking to everyone today. Nice. Emma, how do we find the confidence interval?
You 0.092 plus or minus 0.502.
Okay, make sure the 0.502 is first, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to add and subtract, not that, but the 0.092. Yep. And how about the confidence interval for this one? When you have it, when you're ready. Isabel, going back to you when you're ready. Add and subtract those bad boys. Good. Between 0.41 and 0.592. Yep. You good? Thought you were whining about something.
I said 4. 594. I also was yawning when I said it. So it sounded weird.
You guys are all over my case today. 3. Stella, back to you. How about the margin of error for number 8 here?
The answer?
Nope, just
Okay.
calculate.
Plus or minus 2 times 0.019.
And I believe that's going to come out to be plus or minus 0.038. What's this one? Proportion who spent at least 15 hours studying. Huh. How about the confidence interval now? Confidence interval. Marnie, there we go. There's a new one. How do you calculate it, Marnie?
0.4504 plus or minus 0.038.
Woo! Good thing we got the calcs, kids. Now I want to finish this on a good note, going into the weekend. Marnie again, double up.
0.4124.
Yes.
0.488.
There you go. 95% confident it falls within there. Okay, let's do this. Let me know if you have questions.